Loud East Wrestling fans. I am longtime independent wrestling fan Robert. Get Loud was a great debut show for Loud East Wrestling. It took place in the Bronx, New York. And one heck of a night and heck of a crowd, too. Okay. The show started out with what was scheduled to be a 5-way Lucha Madness or Lucha match, but only 4 of them were in the match, as we saw Andros Jr. versus Unico versus Salvador versus Apu Machi. Commando Jr. was the 5th man scheduled to be announced for this matchup, but I guess he didn't show up. A good opening match to get the crowd going, as Apu Machi defeated Salvador, Unico, and Andros Jr. Now, I don't know if Unico was known as Hunico in the WWE or not. I don't know if that's him or not. But the fans seem to enjoy this matchup. Next up, we have a singles match, which was advertised as a qualifying match for the LEW Heavyweight Championship. As the man who loves the number 3, the Greek god Papa Don, did battle with the Cash Flow, Ken Broadway. I don't know if this was the first time meeting between both of these men, but this was a great matchup, and I forgot how it ended, but the Cash Flow, Ken Broadway, defeated the Greek god Papa Don. Up next was a 6-man tag team matchup as the Rottweilers, Monster Steve Mack, Julius Smokes, and Benny, I apologize. I mean, he wrestled as Benny Blanco in the past. I don't know if he's now going by his actual last name or not. And I don't know who was the man who accompanied them to those 3 gentlemen to the ring or not. I don't know who that was. And they had an open challenge, and it was answered by Hot Dog Starks, Killer Kyle, I apologize, I got his name wrong, and Johnny, I apologize for not hearing his last name. Surprisingly, this wound up, I mean, this was a good matchup, and I thought this was going to be one of those quick matches, but it wasn't, and you know, I can't remember how this one ended, but not surprisingly, well, actually, I do remember. The corner man they had, I forgot. I don't think they mentioned him at all. He brought in 2 chairs, and they brought in a door, and Mac powerbombed somebody through the door that was laying on the tables, and the Rottweilers were victorious in this matchup. So it's safe to say they showed this match the door. Next up was tag team action as Matt Awesome and Jarrett Diaz, do apologize for not hearing their tag team name, as they took on Jay Lyons and ringleader Midas Main Event. Now, I don't know, Main Event was announced to face Fight or Die, Chris Barton and Dominic De Niro, but apparently Fight or Die didn't show up either, as Main Event ended up defeating Matt Awesome and Jarrett Diaz to pick up the victory. Next matchup, we saw Johnny the Kid Rambo do battle with Kevin Cash, who was accompanied by a very tall man whose name was not even announced to the crowd. And that corner man, at one point, he pressed Johnny Rambo over his head back into the ring, and the referee eventually ejected the corner man from ringside. And from there, crapola, Cash, eventually Cash got the win. He threw wads of cash in Rambo's face. I forgot what he did to him afterwards, and pinned him to win the matchup. Funny thing is, when the people were chanting Johnny Rambo, I said to the wonderful Ariana, who was right next to me for this one, I said, not the force of freedom. And she did get the reference. And, I mean, as I said, that was a pretty good cartoon for its time. even though it's a character from the first Blood movies. Next up was the second, qualifying match for the LEW Heavyweight Championship, as we saw the Long Island Landmine Joe Ocasio do battle with the Perfect Ratio Adonis Stone. Things were going pretty good. Eventually, Ocasio, he kicked Stone in the groin, and the referee called for the bell, disqualified Joe Ocasio, and he and the referee get into a shoving fight afterwards, and Adonis Stone got the victory. It was at that point they went to intermission, and good thing they did, because it was very warm in this building. Yeah, it was very warm in the building, and it got to the point where even I eventually had to come outside, and so many out there were smoking weed. Eventually we all went back in the building to catch the rest of the show, and we had a six-way matchup which saw Raheem Royal versus the missing ingredient Chris Bishop versus Mr. James versus Kamikaze versus Anthony Gangone versus Nikolai White. Now, I didn't catch what happened, but apparently somebody in the crowd sitting across the room from me went too far, as Gangone attacked this guy, knocking him for a loop, but he got up like nothing. Gangone went on to win this match, defeating Raheem Royal, Missing Ingredient Chris Bishop, Mr. James, Kamikaze, and Nikolai White. Next up was another LEW heavyweight title qualifying match, as we saw Rage, accompanied the ring by Chaos, do battle with Vince Steele. I can't remember how this one ended, but at one point Chaos came in the ring. She tried to get Vince Steele's attention, and I guess that didn't work out, and Vince Steele picked up the victory, defeating Rage. And then what I thought was a very good matchup, we saw, actually it was the fourth and final qualifying match of the LEW for the LEW Heavyweight Championship, as Montekia did battle with Ghost Shadow. Ghost Shadow, I had not seen him wrestle in years, and not surprisingly, these two had a very good match, and Ghost Shadow ended up defeating Montekia with a submission hold to pick up the victory in this qualifying matchup. Then it was time for the main event, as Jay Lover, who was escorted to the ring by his own referee, and I forgot who the other guy was, and Lover came to the ring, and he took the microphone. He told the other referee to leave the ring. Out comes Lover's opponent, the notorious 187 Homicide, and this, by the way, was a Boogie Down Core match, and this was pretty hectic. At one point, I forgot who told us to move. Oh, it was Jay Lover, and threw Homicide over the guardrail right by where we were sitting, and we basically stood for the rest of the show. Back in the ring, Homicide broke stuff over Jay Lover's head. That referee was constantly slow counting when Homicide tried to go for pinfalls. Got to the point where I think doors were brought into play. Wow, I can't remember everything here. Dang. The Homicide. Okay, well, eventually the referee who officiated the other matches throughout the show, he came back out. He went after Lover's personal referee, and he eventually made the 3 count, enabling Homicide to defeat Jay Lover to win the matchup. But after the match, Lover and his referee and the other guy whose name was not mentioned, they attacked Homicide after the match, and even the other referee, I think he was being attacked as well. Eventually, Julius Smokes comes out, as does actually Adonis Stone came out as well, but somebody hit him in the groin. Julius Smokes came out, and then out comes the Grim Reaper, and so does the Greek god Papa Don. They come out, and they basically have a nice celebration to end the night, and nice LIWF Doghouse reunion there. I don't know if Adonis Stone came out of the doghouse or not. But Reefer, Homicide, Papa Don, and Julius Smokes were in the ring celebrating. And I think Reefer took the microphone. He said, "We will be back," but no return date was announced. But what a heck of a night of action, and I'm so glad I was there. Okay, now it's time for the personal notes. It was great sitting with the wonderful Ariana, seeing her nephew Francisco there. Now, the first thing I want to say is, now we know the Kips Bay Boys and Girls Club is addressed on Randall Avenue. However, everybody entered the building on White Plains Road. I mean, I'm surprised there was never a notice posted outside to tell everybody to enter on White Plains Road. Okay, another thing I want to address is right after some point after Johnny Rambo's match, some of the fans left. I guess they left because they didn't hear them screaming their heads off. At some point they left the building because, apparently they left the building because, I guess it's because, it's another matter of, people coming to see who they know / who they're related to, and after they watch that person's match, they end up leaving. Which makes them #not real wrestling fans. And I think some people who came to see David Cash, even they left during intermission. And I even, after the second half of the show got underway, I noticed some empty seats near us. I mean, come on. I mean, I realize I understand the promoters and these federations, they gotta, sell the tickets, make the money, and to stay alive and keep going. But come on, to these fans that I mentioned, stay for the whole thing. Don't just stick around till the person / person you're related to goes on. Watch the whole thing. All right. Apparently, the ring announcer was having some issues with the microphone. And I don't know, it kept dying and stuff. Eventually, he got the hang of it. Yeah, it was very warm in there. I mean, I don't know if Loud East Wrestling comes back to this place in the future. I don't know. Maybe see if we can use a hockey rink instead, because maybe it may or may not be a little cooler in there. Because at one point Ariana had to go use she wanted to go use the ladies' room, and she couldn't use the ladies' room where the show was happening, because before the show there was a gentleman telling everybody not to go over there before the show began. So she went inside. She said there was like a basketball court was like under renovation, and she said it was much cooler over to use the bathroom over there. Good thing they had other bathrooms in that building, because I don't think she or any other ladies out there would want to have to go inside the men's room. That's for certain. All right. Another thing, as I mentioned earlier about Anthony Gangone nailing a fan. I mean, I didn't see what the guy did, but he had to do something. Otherwise, Gangone wouldn't have attacked him, and he already wrote about it on his Facebook, and I think on his Twitter as well. You know, if you're a fan, stay a fan. He's right. I mean, that individual that he knocked for a loop, apparently he's given all wrestling fans a bad name. After the crowd, it started, after more of a crowd showed up, and during the second match, I pulled out my megaphone and to use. Wonder how everybody felt about that, unless they didn't notice. Some memorable quotes. They're great. Someone behind me towards Unico, who was dressed up as a tiger. I know I told Ariana that the late Lee Marshall, who was part of WCW for years, he eventually voiced Tony the Tiger in those Frosted Flakes commercials. You need a new family. This Joe Acasio to this kid sitting in front of me who told Acasio he needed to get a new haircut. We're in 1960s Batman. Ariana, when Kamikaze had this bomb that he lit the fuse of, but it didn't explode. Prove he's not called Kamikaze for nothing. Okay. Oh, how can I forget this memorable quote? Long Island sucks! Francisco, when Joe Acasio had come out and was announced from Long Island. And Francisco, I don't know if you heard me, I think Ariana heard me, when I said, you know, if you want to do the town, not everybody, do that part of the world, not everybody wants to know. Oy. The only thing that bums me out is that this building, there's no train stations near this building, just a bus that stops by. And thankfully, you know, when Ariana and I got out of the building, we took, well, she didn't have to take the bus. I don't know if she spent that, because right across the street, her brother and nephew live across the place, but I don't know if she spent the night over there or not. Because I was just checking my phone to see what time the next bus was coming. And, you know, would you believe this, folks? I actually got en route to the show, I got on the wrong bus. I was supposed to take the BX39. I got on the BX36, but after it made a turn away from White Plains Road, I got off the bus and didn't have far to go after that. I was in such a hurry trying to get to this show. Sadly, there's no like places to eat near this building either. Maybe if I left sooner, I would have eaten somewhere near Parkchester train station. But like I said, I don't know if it was, even though the ring announcer didn't mention it, but the 4 qualifying matches that took place. Okay, Castro, Ken Broadway, Perfect Ratio, Adonis Stone, Vince Steele, and Ghost Shadow were victorious in those matches. So I don't know if the next Loud East Wrestling event is going to have more qualifying matches, or if those 4 guys are going to have a 4-way with each other to crown the first champion. And as I said, no return date was announced for the next event, but I gotta say, Grim Reaper, you did one heck of a job putting all this together. Hopefully, Fight or Die and Commando Jr. will be on the next show, and maybe we'll finally get Fight or Die against main event. You know what? I forgot this other quote. Counterfeit cash, counterfeit cash. Somebody near me towards Kevin Cash during his match with Johnny Rambo. Wow. Unless I'm mistaken, I noticed Caveman in the crowd. Wow. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention during the Jay Lover Homicide match, when they went into the crowd and the chairs were going all over the room seemingly. Well, not flying all over the room. The Ariana's bag or purse was left on the chair, and eventually somebody grabbed the chair, and then the purse was taken off, and good thing she ran over to get it. Wow. Man. Let's try to, is there anything else to add to this, folks? Anything else to add? All right, I guess that will do it. I mean, you know, Get Loud, great debut event for Loud East Wrestling. We didn't really get much of a chant, but I'll do it. LEW, LEW, LEW. Oh, forgot to mention something here. But yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, you know, I had the megaphone with me, but right here, I had also brought here, my selfie stick is in this very bag, which I also brought to the show, but I did not get to really get to put it into play. So that should be something. Oh, and Ariana and Francisco, I mean, I don't know if there'll come a day where the two of you will get to do one of these videos with me. That would be something. I mean, I've had numerous individuals do these videos with me in the past. Numerous fans, that is. Alright, so, again. LEW, LEW, LEW.